The sea is vast, endless, and full of secrets. Its waves whisper stories older than the mountains. Far beneath the surface lies a world few have ever seen. Legends speak of a temple hidden in the deepest blue. It is said to hold the wisdom of the ocean itself. Some call it a myth, a tale told by sailors under moonlight. Others believe it waits for the right soul to be found. In the days of the gods, Poseidon watched over the seas. He guided the waves, calmed the storms, and guarded its treasures. Yet even he hid something far beneath the ocean's floor, a temple of shimmering stone veiled by silence and time. No map shows its place, no compass points the way. Only the heart that listens to the sea can find it. Tonight, we sail into the story of that hidden place, a tale of courage, curiosity, and respect for the deep. Listen closely, for the waves still carry the whispers. Perhaps you will hear the call of the ocean's song. And perhaps the legend of Poseidon's temple will awaken again. The sun rose gently over the quiet sea. Golden light touched the rippling waves with a soft glow. Seagulls circled above, calling as the morning breeze stirred. Along the shore, a small village began to wake. Its people had always lived by the rhythm of the ocean. Fishermen prepared their nets as children chased the tide. The sea was not just their livelihood, but their oldest friend. Elders often gathered by the pier to tell stories. Among those stories was one that never faded with time. They spoke of a temple hidden far beneath the waves, a place said to hold wisdom older than the stars. Many believed it was just a tale to pass long nights, but some whispered that the temple was real, waiting. It was said the temple appeared to the worthy alone. A heart guided by respect and curiosity could find it. The village had long respected the sea's moods and gifts. They offered songs to the tide before setting sail, and they listened when the waves grew restless and strong. That morning, the tide behaved strangely, as if unsettled. It pulled back farther than the villagers had ever seen, exposing wet sand glistening beneath the early sunlight. Fishermen exchanged wary glances, their brows furrowed. Elders murmured that such a sign was not to be ignored. Some said the sea was trying to speak through the tide. That evening, the sky turned a deeper shade of amber. A hush fell over the village as the horizon shimmered. On the distant water, faint lights flickered like stars. Children pointed at the lights, their eyes wide with wonder. Older villagers grew quiet, remembering the ancient stories. They said the lights were a sign of the temple's presence, a reminder that the ocean held secrets beneath the calm. The village storyteller, an old woman with silver hair, spoke. She told how long ago Poseidon hid a sacred place, a temple not of gold or riches, but of wisdom, built to keep the harmony between the ocean and the land. She said the temple would reveal itself in times of need, when the balance of nature called for guidance and care. The villagers listened, hearts caught between awe and fear. The waves lapped gently against the shore, as if listening too. That night, the sea grew calm, almost expectant. The wind softened, carrying the scent of salt and mystery. Stars reflected on the water, forming paths of light. Many watched in silence, feeling the weight of the moment. A young sailor named Lyric stood apart from the crowd. Lyric had often dreamed of exploring the deep waters. He believed the ocean hid wonders yet unseen by humankind. He stared at the distant lights, feeling an unspoken call. Something in his heart whispered that the stories were true. The temple was not a myth, but a real and waiting place. Lyric could not shake the thought even as the night deepened. The villagers returned to their homes, murmuring in hushed tones. but Lyric stayed by the water's edge, listening to the waves. He felt as though the sea was speaking only to him. The gentle rhythm of the tide seemed like a guiding song, a promise of discovery for those who dared to believe. The moon climbed high, casting silver over the sleeping village. Lyric closed his eyes and whispered a quiet vow. One day, he would follow the ocean song to its end and find the hidden temple that had called to so many. The night passed in peaceful silence, yet full of expectation. Far out at sea, unseen by the village, the water shimmered, as if something ancient had stirred beneath the waves. The temple waited, patient and timeless beneath the deep. And the sea, gentle yet powerful, prepared to guide the way. Dawn broke with a soft, golden glow across the village roofs. The sea lay calm, as if waiting for something to be revealed. Fishermen prepared their boats, yet their eyes lingered on the horizon. They still remembered the strange lights from the previous night. The village buzzed with quiet talk and hushed curiosity. Elders gathered near the lighthouse, speaking in low voices. Among them was the old storyteller, her silver hair glinting. She claimed the signs were just the beginning of an old prophecy. Whispers spread through the village like the morning tide. Children listened wide-eyed, imagining secret worlds below the waves. By midday, the winds shifted and clouds drifted from the east. The sea remained calm but carried a new, expectant hush. Fishermen noticed strange patterns in the shallow waters. Swirls formed in the tide, as if guided by an unseen hand. That evening, the lighthouse keeper found something unusual. In a hidden compartment beneath the wooden stairs lay an ancient scroll. Its edges were worn by salt and time, yet the ink endured. The scroll was wrapped in faded blue cloth, embroidered with seashells. The villagers gathered as the storyteller gently unrolled it. Faint symbols shimmered like sunlight through deep water. The writing was in an old tongue known only to a few. The storyteller traced the lines with trembling fingers. She began to read, her voice steady but filled with wonder. It told of a temple built by Poseidon long ago, a sanctuary of wisdom, hidden where light could not reach. It spoke of a time when the sea and land were in harmony. The temple had been sealed when humankind forgot respect for the ocean. But it would open again when the right seeker appeared. A traveler who followed the ocean song with a true heart. The scroll warned of challenges, not of danger, but of spirit. Patience, kindness, and courage would guide the chosen one. The villagers listened in awe, the air thick with reverence. Lyric stood at the edge of the crowd, his heart racing. The words of the scroll felt as if they were meant for him. He remembered the call he felt from the sea the night before. The prophecy stirred something deep within his adventurous soul. The storyteller's eyes lingered on Lyric as she finished reading. Her gaze was calm but seemed to see beyond the present moment. She spoke of the ocean's voice, guiding those who listen, and warned that not all who seek will truly understand its call. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sea grew still again. A soft breeze carried the scent of salt and distant rain. The lighthouse glowed faintly against the darkening sky. The villagers dispersed quietly, each lost in their own thoughts. Lyric remained by the lighthouse steps, staring at the ocean. He felt the words of the scroll echoing in his mind. The prophecy felt less like a story and more like a summons. The moon rose, casting silver paths over the gentle waves. Lyric closed his eyes and listened to the rhythmic tide. He thought he heard a faint melody carried by the water, a song not of words, but of deep and ancient longing. The sound filled him with calm and determination. He knew the journey would be unlike any other. The scroll's message felt like the key to his destiny. Far out at sea, beneath the shimmering moonlight, something stirred. The deep waters shifted, as if waking from a long dream. Glowing corals pulsed faintly in unseen trenches, and the ancient temple, silent and patient, seemed to listen too. In the village, Lyric opened his eyes with renewed resolve. He would follow the whispers of the sea and honor the prophecy. The ocean, vast and eternal, seemed to hum with quiet approval. As the stars filled the sky, the night promised new beginnings. The prophecy had been unveiled, and the path was set in motion. The morning sun rose over the horizon, painting the waves in gold. Seabirds glided above the sparkling water with graceful arcs. The village stirred awake as the smell of the sea filled the air. But one heart beat faster than the rest that day. Lyric stood on the wooden pier, gazing at the open horizon. His eyes held a mix of wonder and unspoken determination. The prophecy still echoed in his mind, like a distant drumbeat. He felt as though the ocean itself had whispered his name. The young sailor had always felt drawn to the mysteries of the sea. From childhood, he would wander along the beach at dusk. He would listen to the gentle hush of the tide and dream. The old storyteller often found him there, staring at the waves. She would share tales of the gods and the deep's hidden wonders. Those stories had filled his heart with longing and curiosity. Now the prophecy felt like a door opening before him. The villagers went about their mourning as if nothing had changed. But Lyric could not ignore the call that stirred within him.
We must reach the shore.
He walked along the pier, the wooden planks creaking beneath his steps.
The storm is too
His thoughts
strong.
were a tide of questions and quiet resolve. He imagined the temple, veiled in shadow and shimmering light. What a wisdom might it hold beneath the eternal waves? What songs of the ocean had lingered there for ages untold? The sea breeze brushed his face as if urging him forward. He knew his journey could not be delayed much longer. At the marketplace, Lyric gathered what little he would need. He traded for dried fruits, fresh water, and sturdy ropes. The villagers watched, curious yet silent about his purpose. Some offered gentle smiles, others cautious glances. A few whispered that he was brave, or perhaps foolish. Lyric thanked them all with a calm and steady heart. He knew this journey was not of gold or fame, but of purpose. Later that day, he visited the old storyteller once more. She sat by the shore, her silver hair glinting under the sun. Her eyes, deep and calm, studied him with quiet understanding. "You feel the call," she said, her voice soft as the breeze. Lyric nodded, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. "The prophecy spoke of a true heart guided by the ocean," she continued. "But remember, the path ahead is not marked by maps. It is patience and kindness that will light your way." Her words settled in his mind like stones in a quiet stream. He promised to honor the sea and listen to its song. That evening, Lyric walked to the edge of the village. There he found his small boat waiting on the gentle tide. It was a simple vessel, sturdy yet humble against the vast sea. He checked its sails, knots, and supplies with careful hands. The sky turned amber as the sun began its slow descent. Shadows stretched long across the sand like fingers of time. The waves whispered softly, as if sharing ancient secrets. Lyric looked out at the endless horizon once more. His heart felt both light with hope and heavy with purpose. He thought of his family, his friends, and the village. Their lives were bound to the sea, just as his was. The prophecy was not just a tale to him anymore. It was a calling, a promise to protect the harmony of the world. Night descended gently, bringing a sky filled with stars. The moon rose, casting a silver path across the water. Lyric sat in his boat, letting the tide rock him gently. He closed his eyes and listened to the ocean's soft rhythm. The waves hummed like a distant lullaby, guiding his thoughts. He whispered a vow beneath the moon's pale glow. "I will follow your song, wherever it may lead." The ocean answered with a gentle swell, as if in reply. A sense of calm washed over him, steadying his resolve. He knew the journey ahead would be long and uncertain, but his heart was steady, guided by the prophecy's promise. Far beneath the waves, unseen by human eyes, the temple waited. Its ancient stones shimmered faintly, as if sensing the coming seeker. The deep waters stirred, carrying a soft, melodic whisper. Lyric opened his eyes and looked to the horizon again. The stars above seemed to align like a path of distant lights. He felt ready, his spirit in tune with the call of the deep. The sea stretched out before him, vast, timeless, and welcoming. And so began his voyage into the heart of the ocean's mystery. The dawn came softly, painting the sky in hues of rose and amber. The sea was calm, a vast mirror reflecting the waking light. Lyric stood at the edge of the pier, his heart steady and strong. Today he would begin his voyage guided by the ocean's song. He stepped into his small boat, feeling the gentle sway beneath him. The tide carried the vessel forward, as if eager for the journey. He raised the sail, and the morning breeze filled it like a guiding hand. The villagers gathered on the shore, watching in quiet reverence. Some offered soft words of blessing carried by the wind. Others simply stood in silence, their eyes fixed on the horizon. The storyteller was among them, her silver hair glinting in the light. She raised her hand in a gentle wave, her eyes calm and knowing. Lyric met her gaze and nodded in gratitude before setting off. The boat glided smoothly over the tranquil surface of the water. Gulls wheeled above, their cries sharp yet somehow reassuring. The sun rose higher, turning the waves into sheets of liquid gold. Lyric kept his hand steady on the tiller, guiding his course. He felt a sense of peace as the shore slowly faded behind him. The ocean stretched endlessly ahead, welcoming yet vast and mysterious. He listened for the whispers of the waves beneath the boat's keel. Now and then, he thought he heard a faint humming like a distant tune. It was soft, almost like a lullaby, carried on the breath of the sea. The song filled him with calm and quiet determination. Hours passed as the boat moved steadily across the open water. The sky above was a clear blue dome without a single cloud. Schools of silver fish darted below, flashing in the sunlight. A pair of dolphins appeared beside the boat, leaping gracefully. Their presence brought Lyric a sense of companionship and hope. He watched them for a while, smiling at their playful dance. It felt as if the sea itself was guiding and encouraging him. By midday, the sun was warm, and the breeze carried a gentle salt scent. Lyric adjusted the sail and sipped from his flask of water. The horizon stretched in every direction, vast and unbroken. Yet he felt no fear, only a strange sense of belonging. He remembered the storyteller's words about patience and kindness. The ocean would reveal its path, not to force, but to trust. Late in the afternoon, the sea's colors began to shift. The deep blue gave way to shades of emerald and turquoise. Lyric leaned over the side, gazing at the wonders below. Beneath the waves, coral reefs glowed softly like underwater lanterns. Bright fish darted in and out of the swaying fronds of seagrass. The water was so clear, it felt as though he was floating above a dream. As the sun dipped lower, The sky turned shades of copper and rose. The dolphins leapt once more, then disappeared into the glowing sea. A gentle current caught the boat and guided it southward. Lyric did not resist. He trusted the sea's guiding hand. The night arrived with a velvet sky strewn with countless stars. The moon cast a silver path over the gently rolling waves. Lyric lit a small lantern on the boat, its glow warm and soft. He hummed quietly, echoing the melody he thought he heard from the sea. It felt as though the ocean itself listened in return. Far below, bioluminescent creatures glimmered like distant constellations. The boat drifted gently, carried by the rhythm of the tide. Lyric leaned back, letting the soft wind cool his face. The voyage felt less like a journey and more like a communion. The sea seemed alive, a presence that watched and guided. In the distance, he thought he saw a faint glow beneath the waves. It flickered like a candle far below the surface. He watched it for a long time, his heart calm but alert. The glow vanished as the boat moved onward into deeper waters. Lyric whispered a quiet promise to follow the sea's path faithfully. The stars wheeled slowly across the sky as the night deepened. He felt the ocean's song cradle him into a peaceful rest. The tide carried him forward, ever closer to his unseen goal. Beneath the waves, ancient currents stirred as if aware of his coming. The deep sea lay waiting, vast and silent beneath the silver moon. And the ocean, timeless and wise, continued to guide his way. The morning sun rose pale and soft, veiled by thin clouds drifting low over the horizon. Lyric awoke in his boat to the gentle rocking of the tide. The lantern's glow had faded, leaving only the dawn's quiet light. He stretched his arms and felt the cool breeze brush against his face. The sea was calm, but there was a subtle change in its voice. He listened carefully to the soft murmur of the waves against the hull. The melody he had heard before was clearer now, almost like a guiding hymn. He let the sound wash over him, steadying his breath with its rhythm. In the distance, the sky seemed to shimmer where it met the water. A thin mist clung to the horizon as if hiding secrets behind its veil. Lyric adjusted the sail and turned the boat toward the glowing haze. Seabirds wheeled overhead, their calls sharp in the morning air. Now and then, he glimpsed flashes of silver beneath the waves. Fish moved in synchronized arcs as if drawn by the same unseen force. The current grew stronger as the boat glided deeper into the open sea. By midday, the sun had pierced the mist, revealing distant shapes. At first, Lyric thought they were rocks scattered across the water. But as the boat drew closer, he saw they were carved stone pillars. Each pillar rose from the depths, weathered by centuries of waves. Some bore faint engravings of seashells, tridents, and curling waves. The sight filled Lyric with awe and a sense of ancient presence. He guided the boat slowly between the towering stone markers. The water here glowed faintly with a bluish hue, soft yet otherworldly. It felt as if he had crossed a threshold into a place both sacred and forgotten. The sea grew deeper, yet its surface stayed calm and glassy. Lyric leaned over the side, peering into the water's clear depths. Below, he saw strands of luminous kelp swaying like banners. Strange fish with glowing fins moved in gentle patterns. It was as if the sea itself carried a living light in its heart. A low hum filled the air, rising and falling like a distant chorus. Lyric closed his eyes for a moment, letting the sound guide him. He remembered the storyteller's words about the ocean's song. The melody grew stronger as he steered the boat further in. By late afternoon, the pillars gave way to a vast, open expanse. In the distance, a faint glow pulsed beneath the water's surface. It was not like sunlight or lantern light, but deep and ancient. Lyric felt a quiet certainty that he was nearing the first true sign. The sky above had grown overcast, casting a muted silver over the waves. A gentle drizzle began to fall, blurring the distant horizon. The boat rocked softly as droplets pattered on the wooden deck. The ocean seemed to hum in harmony with the falling rain. Lyric's heart beat steady as he followed the glowing light below. As night fell, the clouds parted to reveal a crescent moon. Its pale light danced over the dark water, mingling with the glow beneath. Lyric anchored the boat and leaned over the side to look deeper. He saw a faint outline of something vast below the surface. It looked like the top of a massive archway carved into the seabed. Columns stretched down into the depths, vanishing into the darkness. The glow emanated from within the arch, as if inviting him onward. The melody of the ocean's song became almost like a whisper. Lyric felt no fear, only a profound sense of wonder and purpose. He lowered his hand into the water, feeling its cool embrace. For a moment, the hum seemed to respond, growing softer and sweeter. The dolphins returned, circling the boat as if offering guidance. Their sleek forms glimmered in the moonlight as they moved in gentle arcs. Lyric smiled, feeling a deep bond with the creatures of the sea. The night was still except for the lapping of waves and distant calls. He decided to wait for dawn before venturing closer to the arch. He lay back in the boat, gazing up at the starlit sky. The vastness of the heavens mirrored the depths below. He felt suspended between two infinite worlds, guided by the same song. The night passed quietly as the tide held the boat in place. Far below, the faint glow continued to pulse like a slow heartbeat. Lyric dreamt of voices in the water, calling softly in harmony. When morning came, he woke to a horizon bathed in soft gold. The archway below shimmered faintly in the rising light. The melody lingered in his ears as if carried on the wind. He knew the journey was drawing him closer to Poseidon's hidden temple, and he felt the sea itself watching over him with timeless patience. The dawn broke with a soft, golden light spilling across the sea. Lyric stood at the edge of his boat, gazing at the glowing arch below. The morning breeze was cool, carrying the scent of salt and distant rain. He steadied his breath, knowing the moment to descend had come. The dolphins surfaced near the boat, as if waiting for his decision. Their presence gave him courage and a sense of gentle guidance. He gathered his rope and checked the simple harness he had brought. The water shimmered with a faint blue glow beneath the rising sun. He lowered the anchor carefully, feeling the line go taut in the depths. With a quiet prayer to the sea, he secured the rope to his waist. Lyric took one last look at the vast sky above before diving in. The water closed over him with a cool and embracing stillness. Sunlight filtered down in soft beams, mingling with the glow below. The deeper he went, the more the ocean's song became distinct. It was not words, but a melody that filled his heart with calm. Schools of tiny silverfish moved around him in graceful swirls. He felt no fear, only wonder as he descended toward the arch. The dolphins swam beside him, their movements fluid and serene. Together, they approached the grand stone arch rising from the seabed. Its surface was covered in carvings worn smooth by countless tides. Figures of waves, shells, and a great trident spiraled along its edges. The archway seemed less a doorway and more a threshold of time itself. Passing beneath it felt like stepping into an ancient memory. Beyond the arch, the seafloor sloped gently toward a wide, open plain. Strange corals glowed softly in shades of blue and green. Tall kelp drifted like banners stirred by unseen currents. The sea creatures here moved with a quiet, reverent stillness. Lyric swam carefully, mindful of the sacredness of this hidden realm. The song of the ocean grew deeper and more harmonious. He sensed he was being guided not by chance, but by the sea itself. After a while, he reached a series of stone steps descending further. They led toward a grand structure rising from the ocean floor. The temple appeared slowly out of the dim light, like a vision. Massive columns supported arching beams carved with flowing patterns. Moss and coral clung to the stone as if nature had claimed it, yet preserved it. At the temple's base stood two statues of sea lions with calm expressions. Their eyes seemed almost alive as they watched over the entrance. Lyric paused, letting the awe of the moment settle in his heart. The dolphins lingered nearby, circling as if offering protection. He swam forward slowly, passing between the stone guardians. The temple doors were not closed, but open like a welcoming embrace. From within, a soft blue light pulsed gently, like a slow heartbeat. The melody he had followed for days now came from this inner glow. Lyric crossed the threshold and entered the vast interior hall. Inside, the water felt strangely still, as if time itself held its breath. Columns lined the hall, each engraved with scenes of the sea's history. He saw depictions of storms, calm waves, and creatures both known and strange. At the far end of the hall stood an altar made of smooth, pale stone. Above it hung a great crystal that glowed with the blue light. The glow shifted with the rhythm of the ocean's song, alive and gentle. Lyric drifted closer, his heart steady and filled with reverence. He felt as though he had entered the heart of the ocean itself. The dolphins remained near the entrance, watching quietly. Lyric reached out his hand toward the glowing crystal. As his fingers neared, the melody swelled softly like a welcoming voice. A wave of calm and clarity washed over him as he touched the crystal. Visions flickered in his mind of the sea in all its moods and ages. He saw storms raging and then quiet waters healing in their wake. He sensed the deep harmony that bound every living thing in the ocean. It was not a temple of power, but of balance and understanding. Lyric withdrew his hand, bowing his head in silent respect. The glow dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging his humility. The melody softened once more, a promise rather than a command. He knew this was only the beginning of his true purpose. He turned from the altar and looked back toward the open sea. The dolphins moved closer, as if ready to guide him again. The ocean beyond the temple seemed to shimmer with new meaning. Lyric felt a renewed sense of hope and connection with the sea. He knew he had found the path that would lead him further. With a final glance at the glowing crystal, he swam toward the archway. The ocean's song followed him as he rose through the clear waters. He broke the surface and breathed in the cool morning air. Above him, the sky stretched endless and bright, welcoming his return. And in his heart, the ocean's melody remained, guiding him onward. The morning sky was soft, with drifting clouds and a pale, golden light. Lyric stood at the bow of his boat, the ocean calm but humming beneath. The melody he had heard in the temple still lingered in his thoughts. It was no longer distant. It now pulsed gently within his heart. The dolphins swam alongside the boat, their presence constant and watchful. A faint breeze carried whispers of salt and far-off breaking waves. He knew the journey was not over. The temple had revealed only a beginning. The sea's song urged him forward toward a distant, unseen path. The horizon ahead shimmered as though something lay hidden beneath it. He adjusted the sail, guiding the boat toward the glinting waterline. Each wave that lapped against the hull seemed to carry a message. The dolphins leapt occasionally, breaking the surface in arcs of grace. Lyric felt comforted by their silent companionship on this quest. By midday, the sun was high, and the ocean stretched like molten glass. A shadow beneath the water caught his eye, vast and slow-moving. It was not a threat, but a presence, ancient and deep as the sea. The shape drew closer until it broke the surface with quiet majesty. A great sea turtle, its shell etched with natural patterns like runes. Its eyes were calm, wise, and full of an ageless knowing. Lyric felt a wave of peace settle over him as he watched it approach. The dolphin pod gathered near, circling as if in greeting. The turtle turned its head slightly toward Lyric, then to the west. It lingered for a moment, then began gliding in that direction. The gesture felt less like chance and more like an invitation. Lyric steered the boat gently, following the path of the turtle. The melody within him harmonized with the gentle splash of the waves. He sensed that the ocean itself was guiding him through its creatures. As afternoon softened the light, the water beneath turned pale and clear. Through it, Lyric glimpsed tall, wavering shapes rising from the depths. They were not rocks or reefs, but columns of carved stone. An ancient road submerged and overgrown with corals and kelp. The turtle slowed, circling above the sunken path below. Lyric dropped anchor and prepared to dive once again. The dolphins swam excitedly, as if urging him to go. He descended into the water, surrounded by shifting rays of sunlight. The submerged road stretched into the distance like a forgotten trail. Barnacles and sea moss covered its stones, yet their symmetry endured. Fish darted in and out of the cracks like keepers of long-lost secrets. Lyric swam onward, guided by the steady movement of the turtle. The melody in his heart grew stronger with each stroke forward. Soon the road widened into a broad plaza beneath the open sea. Broken columns lay like fallen guardians across the stone floor. In the center stood a half-buried obelisk, worn but dignified. He brushed away the moss and traced the faint carvings on its side. Symbols of waves and stars formed a pattern he could not yet read. But something about the alignment felt intentional and alive. A ray of sunlight pierced the water, striking the obelisk's peak. The beam refracted, casting lines of light across the plaza floor. As the lines shifted, they pointed toward a dark archway nearby. Lyric followed the path of light, moving carefully through the ruins. The archway opened into a narrow corridor lined with stone carvings. Scenes of marine life, storms, and calm tides adorned the walls. The air of reverence returned, the corridor feeling like a sacred passage. Lyric swam deeper until the corridor widened into a vast chamber. Here the sea's song resonated louder, surrounding him in its echo. A great mural stretched across the far wall, dim yet magnificent. It depicted a figure rising from the waves, holding a trident high. Lyric gazed in awe, recognizing the presence of Poseidon in the art. Beneath the figure, smaller carvings showed people offering shells and pearls. Their faces bore no fear, only respect for the sea's protector. The mural's colors, though faded, still shimmered faintly in the light. Lyric reached out, feeling a warmth emanating from the stone's surface. The melody in his heart deepened, resonating with the mural's silent song. He sensed that this place, too, held a piece of the ocean's wisdom. The dolphins entered the chamber, circling him as if sharing the moment. The great turtle remained at the entrance, silent but steadfast. Lyric realized that his journey was revealing more than a lost temple. It was teaching him about the harmony between sea and spirit. He lingered in the chamber, absorbing its quiet message of unity. At last, he turned back, following the dolphin pod out to the plaza. The sun above had shifted, sending golden rays deeper into the water. The obelisk stood serene, as though satisfied to have shared its secret. Lyric ascended slowly, breaking the surface with a calm breath. The turtle waited nearby, and the dolphins played in the sunlight. He climbed back aboard his boat, feeling both humbled and inspired. The melody within him no longer felt like a mystery, but a guiding song. He knew the path ahead would reveal more if he remained patient. As evening painted the horizon in hues of rose and amber, he sailed west. The turtle glided beside the boat, steady as the setting sun. Above, stars began to emerge, mirrored by the glittering sea below. Lyric gazed into the twilight, ready for the next chapter of his quest. Night had deepened over the ocean, blanketing it in silver moonlight. Lyric sat quietly on the deck of his boat, listening to the soft waves. The melody within him was calm, yet persistent, like a distant beacon. The dolphins rested near the boat, their fins breaking the surface gently. The great turtle drifted a short distance away, still as a floating island. Stars glimmered above, their reflections shimmering across the water. Lyric gazed at the horizon, feeling both the vastness and the intimacy of the sea. The journey had begun with questions, but now it felt like a calling. The ocean song was no longer a mystery, but a guide to something greater. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply in rhythm with the quiet waves. In the stillness, a subtle shift stirred the air and the sea beneath. The water rippled as if touched by an unseen presence far below. The melody grew softer, yet carried a tone of invitation, urging him onward. Lyric opened his eyes and saw a faint glow on the western horizon. It was not the moon's reflection, but a distant, pulsing blue light. The dolphins stirred, circling closer to the boat as if sensing the call. The turtle lifted its head slightly, turning its gaze to the distant glow. Lyric felt a sense of anticipation tighten in his chest, not of fear, but of wonder. He adjusted the sail to catch the soft night breeze and set course west. The boat glided smoothly across the moonlit water, each wave shimmering. The dolphins followed alongside, occasionally breaking the surface with sprays. The turtle moved at a steady pace behind, like a steadfast guardian. Hours passed under the silent watch of the stars and the guiding glow. As dawn began to lighten the sky, the blue light grew more distinct. It came from beneath the surface, far below the calm morning waves. Lyric anchored the boat as the dolphins gathered excitedly around. The melody in his heart resonated strongly with the glow below. He prepared to dive once again, fastening the rope at his side. The water welcomed him, cool and luminous as he slipped beneath. Sunlight filtered faintly, mingling with the deep azure radiance below. He descended slowly, accompanied by the dolphins' graceful motions. The great turtle followed as well, its massive shell catching the light. Below, the seafloor unfolded like a dream from another time. Smooth white stones formed a circular plaza surrounded by coral arches. In the center, a massive spiral-shaped structure rose like a seashell. It glowed with the same soft blue light, pulsing gently with each beat. Lyric felt drawn to it, sensing the melody's source at its heart. The dolphins swam ahead, weaving in and out of the spiral's open paths. The turtle settled near the edge, watching silently as Lyric approached. He swam closer, reaching the outer curve of the glowing spiral, The structure's surface was smooth, yet marked with delicate patterns. Each curve of the spiral seemed to tell a story of waves and tides. Lyric followed the path inward, circling gently as the melody grew louder. The water here felt warm and vibrant, alive with the song's presence. Tiny, luminescent fish swam alongside him, as if guiding his way. Deeper inside, the spiral widened into a tranquil inner chamber. At its center stood a pedestal carved from pale coral and shell. Above it floated a crystal orb, glowing with a serene inner light. The orb pulsed softly, in harmony with the melody of the ocean. Lyric approached reverently, feeling a profound peace wash over him. He extended his hand, hesitant yet compelled by an unspoken trust. As his fingers neared, the glow brightened gently, like a welcoming breath. The melody resonated through his chest, steady and soothing. When he touched the orb, a vision unfolded within his mind's eye. He saw vast oceans through the ages, rising and receding with time. He glimpsed whales, dolphins, and countless creatures thriving in harmony. He saw storms pass and calm waters return, restoring the sea's balance. And then he saw a figure holding a trident, watching over it all. The figure's presence was strong, yet not domineering, more like a guide. Lyric understood without words that this was Poseidon's legacy. The sea was not to be conquered, but to be respected and protected. The vision faded gently, leaving him with a deep sense of purpose. The orb's glow dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging his understanding. Lyric bowed his head, grateful for the wisdom the ocean had shared. The dolphins circled him quietly, their eyes bright as if approving. The turtle remained still, a silent witness to the unfolding moment. Lyric turned and began to swim back out of the spiral chamber. The melody followed him, now softer and more like a gentle promise. He ascended slowly through the glowing water, rising toward the surface. Breaking through, he drew a deep breath of the fresh morning air. The sea stretched calm and endless before him, shining under the new sun. The dolphins leapt beside the boat, splashing in joyful arcs. The turtle surfaced nearby, gazing at Lyric with steady wisdom. Lyric climbed aboard, feeling renewed strength and quiet determination. The melody no longer felt distant, but a part of his own heartbeat. He knew there were still more truths to uncover on this journey. But now he carried with him not only guidance, but the sea's blessing. He looked westward, where the horizon met the brightening sky. The dolphins darted ahead as if ready to lead the way once more. The turtle lingered behind, steady as the ocean's endless tide. Lyric set his sail again, feeling the gentle breeze at his back. With hope in his heart and the melody as his guide, he pressed on. The morning sea shimmered like liquid glass beneath a pale sky. Lyric stood at the stern of his boat, watching the dolphins ahead. The great turtle moved with unhurried grace beside the vessel. A gentle breeze filled the sail, carrying them steadily westward. The melody in Lyric's heart felt warmer, guiding him with quiet assurance. Far ahead, the horizon glowed faintly with a soft, golden hue. It was not the sun alone, but something deeper beneath the waves. Lyric felt a spark of anticipation and steadied his breath. The dolphins leapt gracefully, as if sharing his unspoken excitement. The sea was calm, yet its depths carried a humming presence. By noon, the water turned clearer, revealing shadows far below. Lyric peered down and glimpsed curved shapes beneath the rippling light. They were not reefs or rocks, but fragments of carved stone. A forgotten ruin sprawled across the seabed like a sleeping memory. He anchored the boat as the dolphins gathered near in quiet circles. The turtle surfaced briefly, then dipped below, leading the way down. Lyric fastened the rope around his waist and prepared to dive. The sea welcomed him, cool and clear with shafts of sunlight. Schools of small silverfish glided past him like streams of stars. The deeper he descended, the more the ruins revealed themselves. Broken archways lay draped in soft corals and swaying seaweed. Crumbled statues stared out with hollow eyes, their faces serene. He followed the turtle's slow, steady path deeper into the ruins. The melody within him grew clearer, humming like a gentle chant. The dolphins swam close, weaving between the columns in silence. A vast plaza opened below, edged by fallen pillars and shells. At its center stood a circular dais carved with spiral patterns. Faint blue light shimmered in the grooves of the carvings. Lyric descended slowly, his heart beating in sync with the melody. He landed softly on the dais, stirring up a small cloud of sand. The carvings beneath his feet seemed to vibrate faintly with life. He traced the patterns with his fingers, feeling their smooth curves. Images of waves, dolphins, and stars repeated in endless harmony. The turtle settled on the edge of the dais, as if standing guard. The dolphins hovered nearby, their bodies moving with the current. Lyric noticed 3 stone arches standing beyond the plaza. Each archway was marked with a different symbol above it. The first bore the carving of a rising wave in sharp motion. The second displayed the gentle curve of a crescent moon. The third held the shape of a trident surrounded by flowing lines.
Of the sea,
He felt drawn toward the trident-marked arch, sensing its call.
not yield.
The melody resonated more strongly as he approached the arch. A faint light glowed from within the passageway beyond.
We must
He glanced
reach the
back at his
shore.
companions before stepping forward. The dolphins swam after him,
Storm is too strong.
silent and watchful as always. The turtle remained in the plaza, patient and steadfast. Lyric entered the archway, passing beneath the carved trident. The corridor beyond was narrow, lined with smooth white stone. Ancient murals lined the walls, their colors faded yet graceful. They depicted the rise and fall of tides and the dance of the moon. He swam slowly, pausing to admire the quiet history etched in stone. The melody grew softer here, like a distant echo calling him deeper. The corridor widened into a tall chamber with a domed ceiling. Sunlight streamed in through cracks above, casting beams like pillars. In the center of the chamber stood a great stone pedestal. Upon it rested a shallow bowl carved from translucent coral. The bowl glowed with a pale blue light that pulsed gently. Lyric drifted closer, his breath steady, his heart calm. The dolphins circled the pedestal slowly, keeping a respectful distance. He extended his hand and touched the edge of the glowing bowl. The melody swelled softly, filling the chamber with a soothing hum. Within the bowl, the water rippled though there was no current. Images began to form on its surface, shimmering like memories. Lyric saw the ocean during a fierce storm, waves rising high. He saw the storm calm, leaving the sea quiet and renewed. He saw ships crossing gentle waters, guided by stars above. And then he saw Poseidon standing amidst the waves with his trident. The god's expression was not of wrath, but of steadfast protection. Lyric felt a deep understanding settle into his heart. The sea was not a force of conquest, but of balance and life. The vision faded, leaving only the soft blue glow in the bowl. Lyric bowed his head in gratitude for the wisdom revealed. The melody quieted, becoming a tender hum, almost like a promise. He turned back toward the corridor, feeling at peace and renewed. The dolphins followed as he swam out of the chamber. The light of the plaza grew brighter as they returned together. The turtle raised its head as if to greet his return. Lyric looked once more at the arches and the carved dais, He knew there were still more truths to uncover in these depths. But for now, he had taken another step in understanding the sea. He rose slowly toward the surface, the dolphins at his side. Breaking through the water, he breathed deeply of the fresh air. The morning had turned to afternoon, the sky painted with soft gold. The turtle surfaced near the boat, patient as ever. Lyric climbed aboard, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. The melody within him now felt like a steady flame of hope. The dolphins leapt near the boat as if sharing his quiet joy. He looked westward again, knowing his journey was far from over. The sea stretched before him, endless yet welcoming. And in his heart, the ocean's song continued to guide his way. The evening sky glowed in shades of violet as Lyric prepared for the next dive. The sea was calm, its surface reflecting the fading light like liquid glass. Dolphins surfaced beside the boat, clicking softly as if urging him onward. The great turtle rested near the hull, its eyes steady and watchful. Lyric adjusted his rope and checked the lantern fixed to his belt. He felt the soft hum of the melody rising again in his chest. The horizon shimmered faintly, as if calling him back to the depths. With a slow breath, he slipped into the water, leaving the boat behind. The dolphins dove first, gliding gracefully into the deep blue. The turtle followed with measured strokes, guiding the way below. Lyric descended after them, the lantern's glow slicing through the dark. The water around him grew cooler as the sunlight faded above. Shadows of distant arches and broken pillars came into view. He recognized the plaza where he had stood earlier that day. The carvings on the dais glimmered faintly as if welcoming his return. But beyond the plaza, a new path had revealed itself in the dim glow. A long avenue of pillars stretched forward, half buried in drifting sand. At the far end, he saw a faint golden light glowing from a low arch. The melody in his heart swelled, guiding his strokes through the water. The dolphin swam in formation at his side, calm and alert. The turtle moved slowly but steadily, as if it knew the way. Lyric entered the avenue of pillars, brushing past strands of seaweed. Ancient murals adorned the bases of the stone columns. They showed waves rising and receding beneath a silver moon. Some pillars were toppled, their carvings partly buried in sand. Yet the patterns of spirals and stars still gleamed faintly in the glow. The water carried a quiet hush as they reached the low arch. The golden light beyond it shimmered like dawn breaking through clouds. Lyric passed under the arch and entered a broad chamber beyond. The ceiling was high and shaped like the inside of a great shell. Streams of light filtered down through cracks in the roof above. In the center stood a massive stone circle, half sunken in sand. Carvings of fish, waves, and stars radiated outward in neat spirals. At the very heart of the circle stood a tall column of coral. From its tip flowed a gentle stream of glowing bubbles. The bubbles drifted upward in slow, graceful spirals. They shimmered in pale gold, casting soft light on the chamber walls. Lyric swam closer, reaching out a hand toward the rising bubbles. They felt warm and light, dissolving like mist at his touch. The melody in his heart became brighter, filling him with calm. The dolphins circled around the column, weaving in fluid arcs. The turtle rested near the edge of the stone circle, unmoving. Lyric noticed an inscription carved into the coral column. It was old and faint, but he could trace the flowing lines. The inscription spoke of the sea's promise to guide and protect. It told of harmony between tides, moon, and all living things. It warned that the sea's strength must never be wielded in anger. Lyric closed his eyes, letting the words settle in his mind. The bubbles rose higher, forming a glowing spiral above the column. He felt as if the sea itself were breathing with him. Suddenly, the light from the bubbles brightened, casting wide beams. The beams struck the carvings on the stone circle around him. The patterns lit up, glowing softly in waves of gold and blue. The chamber began to hum with a low, soothing vibration. It was as if the entire temple was awakening from a long slumber. The dolphins paused in their circling, watching in quiet awe. The turtle lifted its head slightly, its eyes fixed on the column. Lyric remained still, sensing the shift in the water's rhythm. The glowing beams converged on the floor at his feet. A new image formed in the sand beneath the water. It showed the ocean stretching out toward a distant horizon. And there, at the edge of the image, stood a radiant trident. The melody swelled with gentle power, filling his chest with warmth. He realized that this vision was guiding him toward the next step. The trident was not a weapon of destruction, but a key of harmony. It was meant to unite the tides and bring balance to the sea. Lyric opened his eyes, feeling a newfound sense of purpose. He touched the coral column once more in silent respect. The glow of the bubbles softened, and the humming faded to calm. The dolphins resumed their slow swim around the circle. The turtle lowered its head again, resting as before. Lyric turned toward the archway, ready to leave the chamber. As he passed back beneath the arch, he glanced over his shoulder. The glowing column stood quietly in the golden light, like a beacon. The sea outside felt softer, as though it too had heard the melody. Lyric swam upward, following the slow ascent of the bubbles. The dolphins guided his path, keeping close beside him. The turtle followed at a measured pace, never hurrying. Breaking the surface, Lyric drew in a deep breath of the cool night air. The stars above shone bright and steady over the quiet water. The melody in his chest now felt like a star's steady glow. He climbed back onto the boat, the wood damp beneath his hands. The dolphins leapt once beside the boat, their movements graceful. The turtle surfaced nearby, its shell glinting under the starlight. Lyric sat at the bow, gazing westward toward the unseen horizon. He knew the journey was far from over, but he was not afraid. The ocean song still guided him, steady as the tides. And in that moment beneath the vast night sky, he felt truly at peace. The dawn broke gently, painting the horizon in soft gold and rose. Lyric stood at the bow of his boat, feeling the cool breeze on his face. The dolphins surfaced nearby, their fins glinting in the morning light. The great turtle floated calmly, its wise eyes watching the calm sea. The melody within Lyric's heart hummed quietly, like the tide at rest. He gazed westward, knowing his journey was nearing its final chapter. The ocean stretched endless, yet now it felt like a friend, not a mystery. The boat drifted forward, carried by the gentle current and a quiet purpose. Far ahead, a faint glow shimmered just beneath the surface of the water. It was neither sunlight nor reflection, but something deeper, more alive. Lyric felt the melody rise within him, urging him toward the glow. The dolphins leapt in unison, splashing arcs of silver spray into the air. The turtle dipped beneath the waves, guiding the way with slow grace. Lyric tightened the ropes, secured the boat's anchor, and prepared to dive. He slipped into the water, feeling its cool embrace as he descended. The world below shimmered in soft blue, cradled in the ocean's hush. Light filtered down in beams, illuminating swaying gardens of coral. The dolphins darted ahead playfully, then circled back to guide him. The turtle moved steadily, a silent guardian through the watery depths. As Lyric swam lower, the glow grew brighter and more defined. Before him emerged the final chamber of the hidden temple. Its entrance was framed by two towering columns shaped like waves. A carved arch above bore the image of a rising moon embraced by the sea. Lyric passed beneath the arch, his heart beating in calm anticipation. The chamber beyond was vast, its walls covered in glowing spiral carvings. At its center stood a great stone pedestal, shaped like a conch shell. Upon the pedestal rested a trident of shimmering blue crystal. It glowed faintly, pulsing as if in rhythm with the heartbeat of the sea. Lyric drifted closer, his hands steady, his breath calm. The dolphins hovered around the pedestal, their eyes bright and still. The turtle rested at the base of the pedestal, bowing its great head. The melody swelled in Lyric's chest, soft yet full of steady strength. He reached out and placed his fingers gently on the trident's shaft. The glow deepened, sending soft ripples of light across the chamber. The carvings on the walls flared briefly, like stars waking from a dream. A wave of warmth spread through the water, calm and steady as a breath. Lyric closed his eyes, feeling the presence of the ocean itself. He saw visions of gentle tides, of ships guided safely across vast waters. He saw storms calmed by unseen hands and reefs teeming with life. And in the heart of the sea, he saw Poseidon, watching in quiet peace. The god's gaze was not fierce, but steady, as deep as the tides. A voice like distant waves echoed in Lyric's mind with tender clarity. The sea is not to be ruled, but to be heard and respected. The trident is not power, but balance. Guard it as you guard the tide. The vision faded, leaving Lyric in the tranquil blue glow of the chamber. He lifted the trident, and it felt light in his grasp, as if alive. The dolphins circled once in quiet celebration, their fins brushing the water. The turtle raised its head as if offering a silent nod of approval. Lyric swam upward, carrying the trident close to his chest. The ocean around him felt brighter, as though the waters themselves were singing. He broke through the surface, greeted by the soft morning breeze. The dolphins leapt beside the boat, their movements joyful and free. The turtle surfaced nearby, silent but present, steadfast as the deep. Lyric climbed aboard the boat, laying the trident carefully at his side. The melody in his heart now felt complete, like a song reaching its final note. He looked to the horizon, where the sky met the endless sea. He knew that the temple would remain hidden, guarding its ancient peace. But its gift, the wisdom of balance, would guide him wherever he went. The dolphins swam ahead of the boat, leading the way homeward. The turtle turned eastward, as if returning to the temple's silent watch. Lyric adjusted the sail and let the gentle wind carry them forward. The sea was calm, yet alive with a sense of quiet promise. Above, the sun rose higher, gilding the waves with silver and gold. The melody within Lyric's heart softened into a peaceful hum. He felt not like a conqueror, but a keeper of the ocean's harmony. The dolphins leapt again, sending shimmering arcs into the sunlight. Lyric smiled, knowing the sea's song would guide him always. The journey had ended, but the bond between him and the sea remained. As the boat glided across the calm waters, the ocean stretched endless and free. And in that vast expanse, Lyric heard the sea's gentle voice. Guard the tides, and you will never be lost. He nodded to the horizon, the trident resting quietly beside him. The waves lapped softly against the boat as the sun climbed higher. The dolphins kept their playful vigil, dancing along the rippling wake. The turtle's silhouette lingered far behind, a patient guardian of the deep. Lyric felt the warmth of the sun on his face and the calm within his heart. The ocean's melody sang softly around him, endless as the horizon, And so, with the trident of balance and the wisdom of the sea, he sailed onward, carrying the ocean's promise into the world above.